Most middle-class people don't go broke all at once. They go broke quietly, not because of one terrible decision, but because of invisible money habits that feel normal, responsible, and even deserved. In this video, we'll look at the quiet patterns that keep a good income from turning into real financial freedom, starting with a life that looks stable from the outside, but feels pressured on the inside. Let's imagine someone named Mark. He's 42. He has a decent job. He's not rich, but he's not poor either. He lives in a comfortable home, drives a reliable car, pays his bills, and takes care of his family. From the outside, Mark looks responsible. He's not flashy. He does not think of himself as a big spender. If you asked him where his money goes, he would probably say, "Honestly, I don't know. Life is just expensive." And he would be right. Life is expensive. Mortgage, food, insurance, children, repairs. Everything seems to cost more than it used to. But there is something else happening in Mark's life. Something quieter. Every morning, Mark buys coffee on the way to work. A few times a week, the family orders food because everyone is tired. The subscriptions stay active because none of them feel expensive enough to cancel. The car was upgraded because the old one was starting to feel outdated. The phone was replaced because the monthly payment did not seem that bad. None of these choices feel irresponsible. That is the point. Each one feels normal. Each one feels understandable. Each one feels like part of an ordinary middle-class life. But at the end of the month, Mark looks at the bank account and feels the same pressure again. The money came in. The money went out. And somehow, there is very little left. No major disaster happened. No huge mistake was made. But his financial life still feels fragile. Sometimes, the problem is that every dollar already has somewhere to go before it even arrives. And when money has no space to breathe, the person earning it has no space to breathe either. The first invisible habit is this: turning every increase in income into an increase in lifestyle. This is called lifestyle inflation. But in real life, it does not feel like inflation. It feels like relief. When your income goes up, you start upgrading small things. Maybe it is a better car. Maybe it is better furniture. Maybe it is eating out more often. Maybe it is simply saying yes more often, because now you feel like you can. The human brain adapts quickly. What once felt like a luxury becomes normal. And once something becomes part of your baseline, cutting it feels like losing something, not saving money, losing something. That is why lifestyle inflation is so quiet. Your income can rise while your freedom stays the same. The second invisible habit is spending for emotional relief. People do not always spend because they are careless. Sometimes they spend because they are tired, because they are overwhelmed, because they want one small moment of control. After a long day, ordering dinner does not feel like a financial decision. It feels like survival. Buying something online at night does not feel like a financial decision. It feels like comfort. Taking a trip does not feel like spending. It feels like finally being able to breathe. The danger begins when emotional relief becomes the default solution for emotional pressure. Because if spending is how you recover from stress, then the more stressful life becomes, the more expensive life becomes. The third invisible habit is confusing affordability with wisdom. A payment fits into the monthly budget, so it feels affordable. A subscription is only a few dollars, so it feels harmless. A car payment is manageable, so it feels reasonable. But just because something fits into your monthly payment does not mean it fits into your financial future. Affordability asks, "Can I pay for this?" Wisdom asks, "What does this take away from me?" That is a different question. A car payment may take away your ability to save more. A bigger house may take away your flexibility. Too many subscriptions may take away your awareness. And frequent convenience spending may take away your margin. Margin is the space between what you earn and what you spend. Margin is what gives you options. Margin is what turns an emergency into an inconvenience. Margin is what allows you to sleep better. And margin is what gives you the ability to say no. The fourth invisible habit is keeping up with invisible standards. Most people think they are not trying to impress anyone, and maybe they are not, at least not consciously. But we are all influenced by the world around us, the neighborhood we live in, the cars people drive, the vacations other families take, the restaurants friends choose, the homes we see online, the lifestyles we scroll through every day. Over time, these things create invisible standards. Standards for what a normal home should look like, what a normal family vacation should be, what a normal adult should be able to afford. And when these standards rise, people often adjust their spending without even realizing it. Many people are not trying to look rich. They are just trying not to look like they are struggling. There is a difference, and that difference can cost a lot of money. Because maintaining the appearance of stability can quietly destroy actual stability. The fifth invisible habit is not assigning a job to money before it disappears. A paycheck arrives, bills are paid, groceries are bought, life happens, small purchases happen, automatic payments happen, and whatever is left is supposed to become savings. But by then, there is often very little left. This is the financial pattern many people live in: earn, spend, hope to save. But quiet wealth is usually built in a different order. Earn, save, then spend what remains with intention. That order matters, because if you do not decide where your money goes, your habits will decide, your stress will decide, your environment will decide, your phone will decide, your subscriptions will decide, and your desire for comfort will decide. And by the end of the month, you may wonder where the money went. But the truth is, it did not disappear. It followed the path of least resistance. This is why quiet wealth looks different from what many people expect. It may not look like a luxury car, expensive watches, designer furniture, or constant travel. A reliable used car. A smaller home than someone could technically afford. A phone kept for one more year. A family that says no without explaining too much. A bank account with room in it. Quiet wealth is not about looking poor. It is about choosing invisible freedom over visible approval. Middle-class pressure says, if you can afford it, you should have it. Quiet wealth says, if you can afford it, you still get to choose. Every time you choose not to upgrade something, you are protecting your future options. Peace is a financial asset. So how do you begin? Not by cutting everything, not by feeling guilty, and not by turning your life into a spreadsheet. Start with something simpler. Do an invisible habit audit. Look at the last 30 days of your spending, not to judge yourself, just to see clearly. First, which expenses were true needs? Housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance, essential family costs. Second, which expenses were comfort? Not bad, not wrong, just comfort. Convenience meals, extra coffees, small upgrades, streaming services, things that make life easier. Third, which expenses were emotional relief? These are the purchases connected to stress, tiredness, boredom, frustration, or the need to feel better quickly. Again, this is not about shame. It is about awareness. Fourth, which expenses were image? These are the things you bought because of how life is supposed to look, because of what others might think, because of what feels normal in your circle, because you did not want to feel behind. When you do this, you may notice something surprising. The problem is probably not one huge category. It may be a pattern of small conveniences, a pattern of upgrades, a pattern of saying yes too quickly, a pattern of using money to reduce stress, a pattern of letting your lifestyle absorb every raise. Once you see the pattern, choose one habit, just one. Do not try to fix your entire financial life in 1 week. Choose one invisible habit and make it visible. Maybe it is ordering food one less time per week. Maybe it is canceling subscriptions you forgot about. Maybe it is waiting 48 hours before buying something non-essential online. Maybe it is keeping your current car longer. Maybe it is saving the first part of your income before spending begins. Maybe it is deciding that the next raise will not fully enter your lifestyle. The goal is not deprivation. The goal is margin, creating space between your income and your lifestyle, because margin is where financial change begins, not in perfection, not in extreme discipline, not in pretending you do not want comfort, but in creating space between what comes in and what goes out. Most people do not need to look richer. They need to feel less trapped, fewer payments, more breathing room, less pressure to keep up, and more control over what happens next. The good news is that invisible habits can be changed once they are seen. And sometimes, the first step toward wealth is not making more money. It is noticing where your money has been silently leaking. So before you leave, try one simple thing. Open your banking app and look at the last 7 days. Not the whole month, not every category, just the last 7 days. Look for one invisible money habit, one small place where money left quietly. Maybe it was convenience, maybe it was comfort, maybe it was stress, maybe it was something you called normal. Do not judge yourself, just notice it. Because what becomes visible can finally be changed. If you find one invisible habit, write "I saw it" in the comments. And if you want more calm, practical videos about the psychology of money, quiet wealth, and the hidden habits shaping your financial life, consider subscribing to Invisible Money Habits. In another video, we'll go deeper into why middle-class people can feel poor even with a good income. But for now, start with one invisible habit, make it visible, and change that first.